Hello. I wanted to talk today about Nazis. We have this sort of understanding about World War II that the United States hesitated to enter the battle. We wanted to let Europe fight that out. But eventually, when the US joined in the fight against Hitler and the Nazis, we went in with full patriotism, with full devotion to defeating this evil regime. That would be lovely if that were true. But it isn't true. This article right here from Politico is actually a long history of the struggle in the United States over whether or not to really go full force in the battle against Hitler. And in it, Joshua says the country remained beset by racial and ethnic animosities that pitted Protestants against Catholics, Catholics against Jews, and white Americans against people of color. Now, if that sounds familiar to you because we are here again, it should. There's a lot to learn from what happened in the 1940s and in World War II, not only because Nazis are back, Nazis Part 2, woo, but also because it has never been easy to convince people to defeat evil. James Baldwin said that love has never been a popular movement, that it's always been down to just a few really courageous individuals, and that is true. Even when the U.S. entered the war, the business community really resisted the call to shift from commercial to military production. American citizens complained a lot about rationing, about the price fixing, about conscription. The country started to fall in line. The outside picture was that we were unifying in this common cause, but there was a lot of arguing and discord and resentment. The global crisis really exacerbated existing racial prejudices. And some of the most influential and powerful in American society made that worse. Charles Lindbergh, of course, urged his white countrymen to support Germany in the fight against what he called Asiatic intruders. He warned against the influence of Jews in U.S. media. Again, this must sound familiar to you. A lot of historians have warned people about making comparisons between World War II and today, but I think it's a worthwhile comparison. For most of us, when we learn about history, all those little bumps and wrinkles get ironed out when we're learning the story. We think of the United States as being the heroes storming the beaches of Normandy and saving the day, and that is true. But there's other truth as well, that it took a concerted effort to actually convince people to do the right thing. In World War II, another thing to remember is that blackout measures, mask wearing, were mandatory. They were backed up by law. They were enforceable through fines and even imprisonment. And yet people still refused to comply. If that sounds familiar, it should. People don't like being told what to do. And all along, even when it was for the right reasons, people have resisted. So there will always be dissenters. For some period of time, the dissenters may even be the most quoted, the most powerful. But in the past, we have ended up doing the right thing. In the Civil War, the North did not fight the Civil War to free slaves at all. They were perfectly willing to bring the South back into the Union if it just meant not spreading slavery. They were perfectly content to leave African Americans enslaved. It wasn't till way late in the game when Abraham Lincoln realized that he couldn't win the war without the help of African Americans that then he decided to issue the Emancipation Proclamation. And even after the Civil War was over, the business community, always worried about costs, thought it would be great if we could actually keep African Americans free so they weren't enslaved, but put them back into pretty much wage slavery, keep them enslaved in all but name, because that's the cheapest way for us to get the cotton and the rice and the other things that we need to make money. You know, history is complicated. Human beings are complicated. And the people who do the right thing are few and far between. Thanks so much. Have a great day and be kind.